McCarthy take the handoff. And Alec Manis is going to throw a pick.
They give it to Corum.
Up back. Corum. Touchdown, Wolverine.
Ruben Wilson does it again. Corum finds some daylight. He got some speed and some blockers.
Outside, turns the corner. Blake Corum down the sideline.
Looking over the middle. Caught. Touchdown, Wolverine.
McCarthy extends the play, now using legs. McCarthy a first down.
We might actually be getting the hang of this.
Are we live now?
I think we're live. Yeah, this is actually working. Good evening, everybody. I hope everybody's doing well out there. You know what? I wanted to, first off, I want to say thank you. I wanted to set up a little, a poll thing there that whatever, there's a thing you can do in Streamlabs where you can say how many subscribers you have and how many subscribers your goal is for the end of the episode. And I was hoping we'd get up to 600. And guess what? We're there before we even went live. We're already at 600. That's amazing. Thank you, everybody out there. Tonight's show, cheer it on. Tonight's show, we've got 4 pretty cool stories for you. We're going to be looking at, first and foremost, we're going to be looking at the college football playoff. Now that it's 5 and 7, they're calling it the 12-team playoff. We're going to take a look at that. We're going to take a look at, believe it or not, there's a story about Rich Rod that I just found out about. It actually came out a few years ago. We're going to look at recruiting and what it takes to be a national champion as far as your recruiting class goes. And as the thumbnail suggests, we're going to talk about the toxicity at Ohio State. Right.
Never.
My name is Clifford, and I am your host here on Michigan Chatter on the Team Rivalry channel. With me, as always, is Mac. How you doing over there, Mac?
I am sick of all of the toxicity. I'm tired of it. I just want football back.
Make football fun again. That's our motto.
Yes, it is.
And a lot of people are, and we appreciate that. And I think football is going to be a lot of fun this season since we've got this whole new landscape going on. I think it's going to be kind of wild. I'm excited to get back to it.
Yes, I am too.
All right. So speaking of which, so our first story comes from right from the college football playoff. They have confirmed the format for this year, the 5-7 format for the 12-team playoff. Is going to be the top 5 ranked teams and then the next 7. So in the article, they say the college football playoff board of managers today, and I forgot what day that was. That was a week and a half ago, unanimously revised the qualifying criteria for the 12-team event to now include the 5 highest ranked conference champions plus the next 7 highest ranked teams as determined by the CFP selection committee.
Unless that conference champion is Florida State. In which case,
Ouch.
No.
And what exactly does it mean now that, we've got these 2 super conferences, the SEC and the Big Ten? But here we go. Under the 12-team playoff format that begins this fall, the 4 highest ranked conference champions will be seeded 1 through 4, and each will receive a first-round bye, while teams seeded 5 through 12 will play each other in the first round on the home field of the higher-ranked team. So it works out the same way any other bracket does. 5 plays 12, 6 plays 11, 7 plays 10, 8 plays 9. The quarterfinals and semifinals will be played in the New Year's 6 bowl games. The national championship game will continue to be a neutral site.
Wait, the first round is hosted though, right? By the higher ranked seed?
Yes, that's actually, I think they, oh yeah. Let me go back. But did it say that on here? Each will receive, well, yeah, but you're right. It did say that in the article. I thought it did say it in there. But it did say in the article that the higher ranked team hosts the lower ranked team.
The higher ranked team hosts. Okay, so we've basically got the NFL playoff type structure.
Yeah, I guess
that's basically what they've done. Okay.
Yeah. And finally, but that no conference will qualify automatically, and there will be no limit on the number of participants from a conference.
Oh.
We'll see how that plays out.
So the Big Ten and the SEC are going to be running the playoffs then. That's cool.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, this is really dumb. Why maybe it's not dumb, but like there's two conferences, guys. There's two conferences. Florida State and Clemson are going to the SEC now. There's two conferences. So you've got your highest ranked conference champions. Well, hang on. I guess that means like what if San Diego State wins the Pac-12?
Well, what if Notre Dame is in the top 4?
Yeah, okay, what about Notre Dame? What are even the 2024 conference? I got to look that up because I don't even know who's in what conference anymore except for the Big Ten and the SEC. Because I think San Diego State, I think, is in the new Pac-4, Pac-6, whatever nonsense that is. And so what happens if they win that, but they just get in?
Well, no. It's the highest ranked conference champions.
Yeah, but so what if they're ranked?
Highest ranked.
Yeah, that's what I mean. There are how many conferences are there total? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 conferences. Okay, so there's 11 conferences, and this so ESPN actually needs to update their conference lists because they don't have Washington or Oregon or any of those in the Big Ten just yet. But like, I believe I'm stuck on San Diego State. Actually, let's go to my alma mater. Let's use that as an example. Western Michigan. Okay, yep. In 2016, Western Michigan was ranked in the top 15, and they won the MAC. So you're telling me under this new format, they would have been one of the 5 highest rated conference champions. Would they have gone to the playoffs then? Yes.
That's a good question. Yeah. Okay. But let me go to the next slide here. As it turns out, so as I was trying to lay out, because I wanted to look at what the 12-team playoff would have looked like this past year.
Mm-hmm.
And it turns out that the top 12 teams are exactly what they're talking about. Michigan won the Big Ten. Washington won the Pac. Texas won the Mountain West. No, what were they in? Big 12?
Big 12, yeah.
Big 12. And Alabama won the SEC.
Yeah.
So they were actually ranked in week 14 after the conference championship games. They were ranked 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Okay.
And then number 5 was Florida State.
Yeah.
So that's what they're doing. What they're saying they're going to do this year is literally what happened last year.
But it doesn't matter because those conferences don't exist in the same way anymore.
Well, I know. So I guess it's an interesting question. What you're asking is that if somehow, some way, Western Michigan wins the MAC conference and they're ranked higher than, I mean, they're not going to be ranked higher than the Big Ten or the SEC, I don't think. But if they're ranked higher than the other conferences, then yeah, they end up in the top 4 as the conference champions. Or if nothing else, they'd end up in the top 12.
Okay, so as of right now, the Pac-12 has 2 teams. 2. Okay, Washington State and Oregon State. So they're probably going to need to find a new conference. But okay, so who's in who's going to be in the Pac-12 then? I guess this is what I'm saying. So like you got the American Athletic Conference. The American Athletic Conference has like East Carolina, FAU, Memphis, Navy, North Texas, Rice, South Florida, etc. South Florida's been ranked before. Navy's been ranked before. Army's been ranked before. East Carolina and Memphis, I believe, have both been ranked before. What happens if they win their conference and they happen to be one of the 5 highest rated conference champions because the freaking everyone in the Big Ten, every other conference champion is either in the Big Ten or the SEC.
I know. So, it's going to, like we were saying, I mean, a few videos back, it doesn't matter how they set this up. There is going to be some crazy circumstance that's going to put Western Michigan or Eastern Michigan in a playoff game.
Not Eastern. No, Eastern won't make it.
You never know. What if they have a fantastic season and they end up in the top 12? Somehow they do that. They're going to end up against these kinds of teams.
But okay, so that introduces a whole. Man,
I mean,
this
I
is why they
grant you,
shouldn't have done this.
it's a long shot for Eastern to get there, but not for Western, not for Northern Illinois or Toledo.
Well, I don't know. I mean, Western and Northern Illinois have both really fallen off. Toledo, for some reason, just consistently seems to be good. But I guess this is
the year that Western won the MAC championship.
Yeah.
I think they were good enough that year. They could have been. I mean, well, I don't think they were ranked, but they had an undefeated season.
Yeah, they were ranked in the top 15.
So they could have gone.
They would have,
which is fine. I mean, we're not against that, I'm sure, but it makes for an interesting circumstance because you've always got, just like in basketball, you always get that number 16 seed that's just happy to be there and then gets slaughtered by the number 1 team.
Well, unless you're Virginia and whoever they played, Virginia was the first 1 seed to lose. But I guess just going off of this projection, so they've got the 2025 national champion or CFP playoff projection here, and they've got a 5-12 matchup between Texas and Appalachian State.
Well, okay. Do you want to? Because I laid out how this would have worked last year. Do you want to see it?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay.
Yeah.
So week one, you've got so the top 4 teams are on a bye. So you've got Oklahoma at Florida State, Mississippi at Georgia, Penn State at Ohio State, and then Missouri at Oregon. Out of those 8 teams, only Georgia and Oregon won their bowl game. But that's what the setup would have been. That's what makes this interesting because, like we said, you can lose. You don't have to be undefeated anymore. You can lose a couple of games. In particular, you can lose a major game.
Yeah.
And still make it into the playoffs.
Yeah, okay, so I can see, I'm following along with what you're saying with the actual live stream because I can't see what you're streaming. So I was waiting for it to update.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought that was
you're good.
Show.
So week 1 would have been Oklahoma at Penn State, and then Ohio State at Florida State, and then Mississippi at Missouri, and Oregon at Georgia. All right, I'm not going to lie. That slide alone is this is why they expanded the playoff. That's amazing.
Yep.
So.
And now I have to go back to our intro and say we might be figuring this out. And I forgot to make it so that you could see the slides. It's always something.
Whatever. Who cares?
Anyway, carry on. What were you saying?
Okay, but this isn't going to happen at any point in the future because Oklahoma and Georgia are in the same. Oklahoma, Georgia, Mississippi, and Missouri are all in the same conference. Florida State is currently not, but they might be in the near future. Oregon is in the same conference as Ohio State, and we're only looking at 8 teams here. So what even does the top? What do the other teams look like?
Well, okay, you want me to go to the quarterfinals?
Yeah.
So if I go over to the quarterfinals and wait for it to show up on the screen so you can see it, what it says is, and this is my own projection. So I'm looking at, since Florida State won, I'm going to say Florida State, number 5 Florida State versus number 4 Alabama, number 6 Georgia versus number 3 Texas. And I grant you, this is my speculation, but I think this is what would have happened. Number 7 Ohio State versus number 2 Washington, and then number 8 Oregon versus number 1 Michigan.
That would have been sweet. That would have been awesome.
It's going to be a lot more brutal because I'm looking at this thinking, I mean, what was last week? So, well, actually, Michigan had a bye week. Okay, so if Michigan has a bye week in the first week, this week they would play Oregon. Obviously, Oregon was ranked lower than Washington, and they beat Washington, but that's some brutal games.
Georgia and Texas would have been awesome to see. I'm really curious about that. But this is what I'm saying. So Washington, this scenario might not ever play out again because Washington is in the same conference as Michigan now. Oregon's in the same conference as Michigan. And Ohio State, obviously. So who needs to win and in what way for a scenario like that to actually play out. See, I guess what I'm thinking is like they sold us on this idea of, well, it's more football and it's all of the games are against are between top 12 opponents. That's amazing. That's good football. But then they said, oh, but actually we're going to have the 5 highest rated conference champions. I'm sorry. There are 2 conferences in college football right now, guys. The other conferences are not like the other conferences. Right. So yeah, I mean, your MAC champion is not going to come anywhere near close to being your MAC champion should not be allowed anywhere near where the Big Ten or the SEC champion is. So I get that your MAC champion might end up being like number 12 or number 11 or something like that. Although in this scenario, they have Penn State at 11, Alabama at 6, Florida State at 3, Georgia at 2, Notre Dame at 7. How that's possible, I really don't know, but okay. Missouri at 10, Appalachian State somehow in there. So Kansas State's in here, though. Kansas State's in the top 4. So I guess I'm curious to see how that pans out. But my problem is that they sold us on better football, but then they said, actually, we're going to remove a lot of the ways that we could get all of those different teams to play against each other.
Mm-hmm.
And I love how like every Michigan and Ohio State fan was really concerned about the rivalry not meaning as much. And literally in the first projection for the first time that the playoff is expanded, they have it where Michigan's going to play Ole Miss for a chance to then play Ohio State.
Again. Yeah.
Again. So Michigan and Ohio State play in the regular season and then probably again in the playoffs, if not the Big Ten championship game.
Yep.
Yeah.
After that, then I have the semifinals. This would be my semifinal prediction. My semifinal prediction. Prediction for the semifinals. Number 5, Florida State versus number 2, Washington. Number 6, Georgia versus number 1, Michigan.
Number 6, yeah. That would have been a good game. Who did you have Georgia beating? You don't have to go back to the slide unless you need to, but
I'm going to need to.
Okay.
I had Georgia beating Texas.
Georgia beating Texas. Yeah, okay. I think so. That's how did they lose to Alabama, man?
I don't know.
They really shouldn't have, because it's funny. If you take 2023 Georgia and put them up against pretty much anybody, you would have been like, yeah, Georgia's going to win. But then they lose to Alabama, and that's enough to keep them out of the playoffs. It's crazy.
Yep.
Which
and all
I
that,
get, and I agree with, but
yep. All that's to get us back to Michigan versus Washington.
Yep. Yeah, you're right.
Yep. It's going to be.
Way,
I'm sorry. Say it again.
I was just going to say, so either way, like we just get back to where we would have been the whole time.
Well, this was my projection of where we started to where we ended up, and then adding in the weeks in the middle to see how that would have shaken out.
Oh, well, yeah.
And part of that, you don't have to guess at. You can see in what week 1 would have been.
Yeah.
And then I was just projecting on the quarterfinals and the semifinals. But
yeah, no, I get that.
Yeah, let's jump over to the chat. We have a few chats going on here. Antoine is back. Hello, Antoine.
Ooh, hey.
Antoine says, even if Eastern Michigan wins, and again, this is another technical issue. I wish I could put him up on the screen here, but I haven't figured that out yet. Maybe next week. It's one thing at a time, man. One thing at a time.
Thing at a time.
Even if Eastern Michigan wins or some little conference wins, all they're going to do is disregard them as a little fella conference. You see what they did to Florida State in the ACC. What do you think?
Yeah.
I mean, he's right. That's what they did to Florida State. I mean, they had their reasons, but
I mean, but that's what I'm saying. Like, what if they win and they're ranked high enough, it doesn't matter. Yeah. You have to let them in. They have to be in.
Yeah, it should be. And this gives them less wiggle room. If the same setup had happened, I'm just going to go back to that screen. If we were here, with the same top 12 teams, then Florida State would have been in, even though Alabama beat Georgia, which is why they were pushed out. They were pushed out of the top 4 because Alabama beat Georgia.
Well, they were pushed. That's probably
line.
what happened.
Yeah.
But they say that Florida State was left out because they weren't the same team without their starting quarterback, which, yeah, no, they weren't. Sorry. But the other guys don't even have a shot.
Yep.
I guess that's, yeah. I don't know. I guess I'm still stuck on, like, if Eastern Michigan wins the MAC and they're ranked high enough, they're an automatic bid. It's for all intents and purposes, it's an automatic bid because they would have to run the table.
Right.
So, and I'm not saying that if Eastern Michigan wins the MAC, it doesn't matter if they're ranked high enough. This is an automatic bid. I get that's not the case, but they can run the table. They can pull a Western Michigan 2016 and run the table and win the MAC. Then they would have to be in. So, do you really want a Texas versus Eastern Michigan first game of the playoffs? Is that what we're getting here?
I mean, it's going to happen no matter what. It's going to happen that there's going to be a matchup between a top team and a bottom team, and it's going to be a blowout.
But that's the problem that we were told that was not how this was going to be.
I mean, it's less likely with the top 12. I mean, basketball, you've got what, the top 64.
Yeah, but basketball is the parity in basketball is a lot similar. Like any team can win any given week. And I understand any team in football, I'd cut you off 1 second. Any team in football can win any week too. See Appalachian State 2007 against Michigan. But in the playoffs, like I understand never say never, but yeah.
Cue the Bieber song.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, so we got people already talking about the Buckeye stuff. Free Climb says, I hate the new Big Ten championship format. Basically, a team could beat another team only to play them again, making the first game irrelevant. Yeah,
yep.
That's what we're talking about. Yeah.
Yep.
We agree.
Completely agree.
Tim Leineke says, yeah, I hate that too. No rematches. Antoine says, with the new college format, I don't know why team would even consider hard non-con schedule. It's pointless. Oh, why would you consider scheduling a difficult non-conference?
When
exactly. You don't need to.
You don't need to. You just need to run the table, and even if you're not ranked high enough, all you have to do is get into the top 12, or win your conference.
Yeah.
This is so dumb.
And Free Climb says, I feel like they should only have a championship game as a tiebreaker, or if there is no clear winner, to not playing each other.
Say that again? I couldn't find the...
It's the second from the last one. It says, I feel like they should only have a championship game as a tiebreaker, or if there is no clear winner, due to not playing each other. Okay,
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's fair.
I mean, he's right too. Yeah.
Yep. All right, let's move on to story number 2.
All right.
Which is, okay, so I saw this. All right, this is our feel-good story. We don't have to spend a whole lot of time talking about this, but it makes for some interesting speculation. I saw this on Twitter, and I about freaked out because I had no idea that Alabama had considered Rich Rod as a coach. I'm sure after having seen what happened at Michigan, they all went, whew, bam! Dodged a bullet on that one. But and I don't want to attack Rich Rod. Rich Rod is a decent guy.
He's a good coach,
as far as I know. And he was actually doing better each year, but wasn't doing better fast enough. Wasn't doing more better enough, as the Transformers say.
Yeah.
So Sal here, Ann Arbor Paisano, said in December 2006, Rich Rod turned down the Bama opening to stay at West Virginia, instead choosing to move on to Michigan after the 2007 season. This allowed them to hire Nick Saban and create the greatest dynasty in CFB history. Now, Rich Rod's first quarterback at University of Michigan is the first OC of the post-Saban era. Oh, how everything comes back.
It's all full circle.
Now, before I looked at this and thought, before I wanted to talk about this and not understand if it was true or not, I did look it up and advance.
Advance. Go to the next slide.
Uh-oh. Why isn't it moving? Oh, goodness gracious.
I completely forgot that Nick Sheridan was a quarterback at Michigan at one point. I actually forgot David Cohn was a quarterback at Michigan until he got on to the Crane and Company show on Daily Wire and started talking about it. Yeah.
Keep talking for a second.
Crazy coincidence there. Yeah. All right. So I guess the chat's really excited about when we're getting to the Ohio State stuff.
All right. Hang on.
Yeah.
No, keep talking.
Oh no, we're talking.
I see what I did wrong.
We're talking playoff stuff now in the chat.
Yeah. All right. So I looked it up, and on ESPN, sure enough, how one Rich Rod decision changed Alabama, Michigan, and college football. Rich Rodriguez was visiting an Alabama college football spring practice a couple of years ago and chatting on the sideline with one of the Crimson Tide's big supporters. Gazing around at Alabama's grandiose football digs, Rodriguez couldn't help himself and quipped, "Where's my statue?" The Alabama booster looked at him curiously and said, "Why, whatever do you mean, Rich?" With a sheepish smile, Rodriguez deadpanned, "I'm partly responsible for those 5 national championships because if I had said yes, you wouldn't have had the greatest coach of all time, Nick Saban, winning all those championships." That's a roundabout way to get a compliment, but
wow.
There he is. I deserve a statue because I didn't take the job.
Yeah.
Okay, so my only question is, and this should only take a minute to talk about, if Rich Rod had gone to Alabama, who was Michigan's coach in 2008?
Les Miles.
I thought he flat rejected it.
No, he didn't reject it. He wanted the job, but Lloyd Carr didn't want him to have the job.
Oh, well, then he still wouldn't have been there then. Lloyd Carr would have still said no.
Well, but all the fans wanted Les Miles. So Lloyd Carr Lloyd Carr handpicked Rich Rodriguez. I don't know why, but he did.
Right.
He handpicked Rich Rodriguez because
he found out Alabama wanted him.
No, Rich Rodriguez was the hottest name in football back then.
Yeah.
I mean, he had West Virginia on the verge of some great things. I think they were on the verge of a national championship at one point, but didn't quite get there. I mean, he invented today's offense, basically. I mean, he is the inventor of the offense that started today's game of football. This is why we have the whole basketball on grass thing. So, yeah, I mean, he's a very intelligent offensive mind. His defenses at Michigan all sucked, but he's a really good offensive mind. But I think if he hadn't come to Michigan, it would have been Les Miles because Lloyd Carr wouldn't have had enough time to find someone else, and the fan base and everybody was already screaming, "We want Les Miles."
All right.
I think there were even a few people who wanted Jim Harbaugh back then, but that didn't happen.
I think so. I know Hoke wasn't in the picture.
No.
Nobody was talking about Hoke.
No.
I remember, like you said, distinctly Les Miles, and I think Les Miles was coaching LSU at the time, wasn't he?
Yeah,
that's what I was thinking, because I was thinking it was the coach at LSU. That was Les Miles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so maybe, and that would have been interesting. So you remember the story with why Les Miles wasn't at Michigan?
He was naughty.
It was naughty.
He did some bad things.
So, okay, do I have this right? Because I know you read the book, but if I remember correctly, when it happened back in, let's see, Bo retired in 89, and then Moeller was there from 90 to 94 and was fired in 94 for getting into a bar fight with Les Miles because Les Miles was hooking up with Gary Moeller's wife.
Yep.
Is that about it?
Yep.
Yeah.
That sums it up pretty nicely.
So Gary Moeller, defending his own honor, was the one who got fired.
Yep.
And I remember at the time there was a lot of discussion about that, and I was kind of like, well, I don't know. I mean, he represents Michigan. So yeah, what Les Miles did was wrong, but that doesn't make what Gary did okay in the grand scheme of you got to represent Michigan. It seems like they could have found a way to work that out, but I don't know. I guess at that point he's got an arrest record, and what do you do?
Well, I think everyone's human, and so everyone probably could have looked at Gary Moeller and been like, "Yeah, we get it."
We get
it.
Definitely get it.
Yeah. I mean, even Bo said that he didn't think that they should fire Moeller for that. He thought that there should have been some sort of, I don't know, there probably should have been repercussions anyway, because yeah, you're right. He represents Michigan, but even Bo said that they needed to work something out to keep Moeller.
Yeah, they should have.
Because, I mean, yeah, I get it.
Yep.
Like, absolutely, I get it.
All right, are you keeping up with the chat? What's going on in the chat?
No, I'm not. Let's see. We've got Antoine Johnson asking, are we talking some Final Destination stuff with Rich Rod? Yes, we are, Antoine. Yes, we are. I've never seen Final Destination. Have you?
I haven't, but I'm not as much into the horror movies as you are, but it does have an interesting premise. If I'm remembering the right one, it's the one where people learn about how they're going to die, and then they end up causing the circumstances that make it happen.
Oh, that is
if I'm remembering correctly, that's kind of the premise, I believe.
Yeah. Okay.
But,
we might have to try that one.
But this isn't Critical Drinker or Mall or Nerdrotics, so you're going to have to talk to them.
As from Heels versus Babyface.
Yep. Some of these here, let's see. Big Ten has enough teams. Okay, this is Tim Leineke. Big Ten, and Tim, I apologize if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's Leineke. Big Ten has enough teams to just have 4 divisions. Have a Big Ten East champ and a Big Ten West champ. Who cares if you have a single Big Ten champ? Just have 2 and send them to the playoff. That's kind of interesting because that kind of goes along with what I had been saying about dividing up college football like the NFL and just having the West and the East and then dividing those into 4 divisions each.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, because the NFL has the NFC North and NFC whatever.
Yeah,
the other
Northeast, South, and West, AFC and NFC,
okay. Yeah, maybe they could do that. I don't know, because I guess my only argument against that is, I mean, you have to have a Big Ten champion. You've always had a Big Ten champion. We can't change that. It's tradition. Come on.
Tradition. There's one thing we appreciate at Michigan. It's tradition.
It's tradition.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
You
That's
couldn't
why
have
we have
Ohio
more
State,
national
Michigan.
championships than you. Sorry, what?
Free Climb said you couldn't have Ohio and Michigan in the same division, though. But that'd be tough because they'd almost have to be, given their
they would
location.
have to be.
Yeah.
I mean, understandably, their division would basically come down to who won between Ohio State and Michigan, but you have to have Michigan and Ohio State in the same division.
Yep.
They have to be the end of the season game. They have to be the finale.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, we got one more story before we get into what they said over at the Buckeye Scoop.
We only got one more? What the heck?
We got.
Didn't we do any show prep?
We did not do show prep. We don't do show prep here. These slides magically appear.
Oh, okay. Cool.
So we had on our what was the video? The video we put out on Michigan winning the recruiting day.
Oh yeah, we did a live stream about that, and then
right.
I put out that segment, or well, you cut up the segment. Yeah, okay. Michigan wins signing day. That was
Michigan's the big winner, and that's not what we said. That's what other outlets were saying. You know, the actual outlets that have information.
Yes,
we're just opinion guys. But we had a commenter on our channel say 0 5-star recruits, 4th ranked recruiting class in Big Ten, and at best 18th ranked in the nation. You guys are delusional. I looked at 3 different ranking sites. The title of this made me click it, and 30 seconds into it, I can't watch it anymore. What planet are you guys on? So since Mac and I don't take these things seriously, I said Earth 2, and Mac said Endor, although that's a forest moon. But then the one guy actually joined in the conversation and makes the point for us that Michigan takes 3 and 4 stars and turns them into 5 stars. We won the national championship with 1 5-star, homie. But
I think it was more than one. But
was it more than one?
Yeah.
So then we decided to look at where did this thing go? We decided to look at what it takes for any team to get to. No, I messed this up again. I am. All right. Say something interesting, Mac.
Endor, the sequences on Endor were actually shot in California at the Redwoods Forest before they burnt down because of climate change.
Right.
Crap. Sorry, I shouldn't have gone there. We don't like politics.
Okay, so I did.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead. I'm done.
Or Mac found an article on what it takes for any given championship team, what kind of recruiting class they have to have. And this is from, I didn't put down who this is from.
247 Sports.
247 Sports. How each of the last 10 national champions recruited. Now, I ran out of some time, but what the article says is, looking at the national champions over the last 10 years, there are more teams that landed 5 straight number 1 classes heading into winning a national title. Title 2. Then there are national title winners that landed fewer than 2 top 10 classes. In fact, one of the last 10 teams to win it all did so without first inking at least one class that ranked in the top 10 of the 247 Sports composite. And most did significantly more than that. So what he's saying is it's actually true. You have to have, it seems to be a prerequisite that you have to have higher ranked teams, but they don't have to be as high as you think. And the really interesting one, and this is where I ran out of time. I've got the next slide when it pops up there, has LSU and Clemson, Alabama, and Michigan. It's 2019, 2018, 2017, and then Michigan for 2023. So LSU managed a national championship with a 5, a 2, a 7, a 15, and a 5 ranked recruiting classes.
And it was really the number 5 and number 2 teams that grew up, into those seniors and juniors and seniors to win the national championship in 2019. So,
right.
Yeah.
And then Clemson did it with a 16 and a 9, and then 11, 16, and 7 after that. Alabama is really the outlier with multiple subsequent number 1 teams.
Yeah.
But Michigan actually has, from what I can tell from this little chart here, Michigan has actually had the lowest ranked recruiting classes with the highest output. Although, actually, looking at 2019 and 2020, that's 8 and 10. Compare that to 16 and 9 for Clemson.
I had a spreadsheet that listed out the average the average ranking for each team's recruiting classes over that 10 or 4-year period.
Mm-hmm.
I just got to find it real quick. There it is. Yeah. Okay. So going back to even like Auburn in 2010, which had an average ranking of 16, guys, 16, and Auburn won it. Okay. Then it's Michigan in 2023. Nope. It's actually Clemson in 2016. Clemson in 2016, the average recruiting class ranking for the prior 4 years was number 15. So they had let's see, that's 2016. So 4 years prior, that would mean that their 2012 team or 2012 recruiting ranking was 20. 2013 was 15. 2014 was 16. 2015 was 9. So it got better, but they won the Natty with a 20th ranked class, a 15th ranked class, and then the 16th ranked class were sophomores when they won it. Or maybe juniors, freshmen. No, they were sophomores.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I mean, double digits. And then it's Michigan with the 10th ranked recruiting class.
So what it comes down to, and it looks like we've got some agreement here in the chat, Ohio State gets 10 5-star wideout recruits and are like, we recruited better than anyone in the country. Antoine says, I think UM has an advantage recruiting 3 and 4 stars. Michigan gets to keep them and train them and develop them, while OSU has to deal with turnover rate. UM will have a steady influx of developed players. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Free Climb says, Ohio can win the preseason trophy. Oh, wait, that doesn't exist. Touche.
That's good. That's good.
Oh, and Buckeye Battlecry says, these are such ill comparisons. Why?
What we're saying?
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know why.
Huh. All right. Well, whatever. But, I mean, the point remains, okay, it never comes down to the talent. I mean, not never. You want good talent. I mean, obviously, if you have the 40th ranked recruiting class, you're probably not going to win the national championship. It comes down to what you're doing with the players. And Michigan, also Ohio State, so don't give us any crap, they are very good development schools. Mm-hmm. So they can take teams like Ohio State's national championship in 2014, their average recruiting class ranking was 8. I mean, they won it with their recruiting class, I believe in 2011 or 2012 was ranked 18th. That was coming off of the Jim Tressel issue. So that was right after that 6-6 year. So they had quite the fall in recruiting rankings. But then Urban Meyer takes over, gets things obviously right back on track. Good for him. He's a really good coach, really good developer. He knows how to win at the college level, not so much the pro level. That's okay. But they still had, I mean, number 8. I mean, that's top 10. That's a good class, but they keep comparing Michigan. Oh, Michigan doesn't have like top 4 classes like Ohio State always does. Ohio State didn't have a top 5 class when they won the national championship. So what are we doing here?
Mm-hmm.
And Michigan's wasn't even that much worse. Michigan's was 10th.
I think Antoine here sums up your point. There's a difference between talent and skilled players.
Yes.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. You can have all the talent in the world. If you don't have the skills to back it up or the coach to teach you the skills, that talent's just going to be wasted.
The one thing that I would knock Ohio State for, and I'm not just saying that because I don't like Ohio State. I don't like Ohio State, obviously. But the one thing I would knock them for is that Ryan Day specifically seems to have issues with his offensive and defensive line. Actually, not defensive line, his offensive line. And that's what we saw this year. Ohio State was really good in 2023. They were really good. They just, obviously, they weren't good enough to beat Michigan. And I think it was because of the offensive line. So, like, I see Ohio State's recruiting rankings a lot of the time, and I see, they've got a top 5 class. They've got a top 5 class right now. They've got 5 4-stars. Wide receiver, edge, cornerback, quarterback, running back, cornerback, 1 offensive lineman, he's a 4-star, then a linebacker, then a safety, then a cornerback, and now we're getting into some offensive tackles and linemen. So they're recruiting exceptionally good skill players. Where is the line? What are they doing to build up the trenches? And I'm not saying like this offensive tackle here, they have Devontae Armstrong. He could be a really good player. He's a 3-star. He's got an 89 overall grade. That's really good. But are they able to take that talent and develop it into something that will win them championships? Michigan has been doing that. Michigan has been taking these 3 and 4 stars, putting them on the line and developing them into championship lines. Now, it remains to be seen. We've got some coaching turnover. It remains to be seen whether or not they can continue getting that thing going. But so far under Ryan Day, they haven't done that. Ohio State hasn't done that at all. They've done it where they've been good enough to beat everybody but Michigan. And Michigan knows what it's like to be good enough to beat everybody but Ohio State and occasionally Penn State. So that's my thing. I mean, they can recruit all the skill players they want. Where's the line?
Okay, here's the challenge. Buckeyes Battle Cry says the development gurus are gone. Is that true?
The ones that were there are gone. They've brought in new ones.
And a lot of all the offensive line coaches were assistant coaches last year.
Yes, a lot of them. Yeah,
they were all
promotion.
Just like the players. All of these coaches were trained by the coaches above them. So the coaches were developed along with the players.
It's honestly,
we'll find out here in this season, but
yeah, I honestly, I think it's the defense that has had the most turnover in terms of coaches coming from outside the program. Mm-hmm. Although Wink Martindale he's I don't think he's a Michigan guy. I don't think he has a Michigan connection. I can't remember exactly, but he's the founder of the defensive system that Michigan's been running. So, that's a good hire. Man, I wish I could remember the names of the other guys they brought in on defense, but most of them actually have ties. Oh, the guy at Louisiana, the defensive coach at Louisiana, I can't remember his name, but he has a tie to Jesse Minter, and Jesse Minter actually recommended him for that job. I think it's cornerbacks or secondary coach of some kind.
All right.
So I guess that's the thing. Like, yeah, the developers from last year are gone. So they hired new ones. Hopefully they work out. Maybe they won't. If they don't, you fire them and then bring on new ones. It's not like they're going to have a bad year and then say, well, I guess we'll just try again next year, guys. I mean, sometimes that happens. Don
that's
Brown
what Northwestern did. For about 10 years in a row.
That's a really good point. Northwestern didn't fire anybody until some hazing allegations come out, and then they fired one freaking guy.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
Although it was the right guy because, what's his name? Who's the new coach at Northwestern? Now I forgot his name.
David Braun.
David Braun. Yeah,
David Braun.
So they fired the right guy because David Braun's doing a bang-up job.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think they probably would have been good under Pat Fitzgerald this year too, but
maybe
whatever.
Let's see in the chat here. Antoine says Michigan is teaching skill technique and actually knowing your plays versus Ohio State just throwing out athletes. OSU is just used to out athletes, but we're out techniquing them. Yeah, I'd say that's definitely been true the last 3 years.
I didn't see that. Where is it? Who said it?
Antoine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, let me see.
Sorry. I was reading this one by Buckeyes Battle Cry. It was Kyle McCord. Don't make me laugh. I've never ever tried to make anyone laugh in my life, like ever. So I don't know why I'm being accused of trying to make anyone laugh. I don't have a soul. So look, I get the argument against Kyle McCord. I really do. But he would have developed. Like, I think he could have been good. I think he needed a line. This is what I've been saying all year long is Ohio State didn't have an O-line. I mean, they had an O-line that was good enough to beat everybody other than Michigan. But they still beat everybody other than Michigan. I'm sorry, you don't win 11 games and get called a bad quarterback. Maybe he wasn't lighting the world on fire. Maybe they would have gone to the playoffs and gotten their butts kicked. I don't know. The fact is that he came within about 30 yards of beating the eventual national champion. He was not a bad quarterback. He might not have been the Justin Fields you guys were hoping for, the CJ Stroud that they were hoping for, but he was a good quarterback.
He was the guy Ryan Day wanted over JJ.
Yeah.
So,
and JJ and Kyle are friends even, I think.
They might be.
I think that was the thing, is that they were talking about how cool it was going to be able to play each other.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we've got Buckeyes Battle Cry is trying to say it was McCord. Cal McCord is heading to Syracuse, enough said. Well, that's fine, but he was the guy Ryan Day wanted. He was the guy Ryan Day was hoping to build up and couldn't.
But also...
Chris Schobelach wants to talk about the NCAA allegations.
Are we still on that?
Ohio State fans are. Speaking of Ohio State, you want to say anything else, or should we head over to the Buckeye Scoop story?
I got a couple more things. No, that's okay. I got one more thing for you. Buckeyes Battle Cry. Your fan base gave him the nickname Honda McCord. I didn't like that. I thought it was funny, but I didn't like it. I thought it was really mean, but you can go back and watch videos that we've posted on this channel all season long. I was honestly probably Ohio State's biggest defender all season long. And it's not because I thought that Michigan was going to trounce them. And so I want them to be bad. Mm-hmm. Like I didn't know if Michigan was going to trounce them. And honestly, that Michigan Ohio State game this year was stressful.
Yep.
Ohio State's offense was not the type of offense that we've seen from Ohio State, and yet they still almost won. So I don't know what I think he went to Syracuse. I mean, the conspiracy theorist in me says that Kyle McCord went to Syracuse because he was tired of getting blamed for losing to Michigan.
Yep.
I mean, he didn't lose to Michigan. The entire team did. And if you look at that last play where he threw the interception to Rod Moore, I mean, Michigan's defensive line just blew up Ohio State's offensive line. There was not a whole lot he could do.
Mm-hmm.
So,
all right,
I'll leave it at that.
Since we're talking Ohio State, let us shift over to the Buckeye Scoop. Now, Mac, you wanted to talk about this. Do you want to intro this video? I couldn't get through much of this video, so
I guess I'm gonna preface this by saying I cannot stand people or channels on YouTube that treat rumors, not rumors, sorry, I don't know why I'm doing the quotes for that part, that treat rumors as though it's breaking news. There are some allegations, there are some rumors that to this point have absolutely no teeth. We don't know anything about their validity. That there is some sexual misconduct happening with the men's basketball program at Michigan. There are rape allegations or R-word allegations. Hopefully we don't get dinged for that. My bad. There are some R-worded allegations against some Michigan men's hockey players. And then some issues with a cover-up by Ward Manuel. So all of this basically comes back to Ward Manuel covering up a whole bunch of really bad, awful things that are allegedly happening in the Michigan athletic department. It's all rumors. I follow a bunch of Michigan insiders, people who were actually really critical of Michigan while the sign stealing investigations were going on by the Big Ten, and literally no one knows anything. And they would be the ones to call it out because we all hold Michigan to a very high standard. So anyway, these guys from Buckeye Scoop apparently think that they've broken some sort of story, bombshell allegations, and that Ward Manuel is going to get fired within the week. I think they even say in this video that he's going to get fired on Friday. That was 2 days ago. He's not been fired. Go ahead and play it. I'm going to lose my mind.
All right. This is clip number 1. I've got to speed it up, and I'm hoping I'm speeding it up enough to avoid copyright issues, but also it's slow enough that you can hear what he's saying. Here we go. Clip number 1. Can you hear that? You could not hear that. Uh-oh.
Oh, you couldn't hear it either?
No. Am I on the wrong? Oh, I think I might have been on the wrong one.
Oops.
Sorry about that, everybody. Hang on.
Oh yeah, no, it's not playing, or the sound wasn't playing on the clip here.
Could you hear it that time?
No, I can't hear anything.
All right, keep talking.
Okay, I'll keep talking. Yeah. So I guess, all right. I mean, I wanted to go through their Twitter and look and see exactly what they were about. A lot of people, like a lot of Michigan fans on Twitter, were kind of equating them to the Ohio State version of James Yoder. I don't know if anyone or a lot of people here are familiar with James Yoder. I think he's a pretty, oh my goodness, he's a pretty big name as far as Michigan press personalities go, or rumor personalities go. But he is also the type of person, from what I've seen, to be like, oh, these horrible things are happening at another university. They are for sure done. Like, they are totally done. Now, you can accuse me all you want of using clickbait titles, but that's all I do. All I do is say, like, oh, Michigan's going to continue their dominance in 2024. How do you know? You know. I mean, because I'm a Michigan fan, I can say things like that. What I'm not going to say, though, is that, oh, Ryan Day is being accused of this horrible thing. And it's obviously true because Ohio State are a bunch of scumbags, which that's exactly what they say in this video, is that Michigan, well, they have a pattern of being scumbags. No, they don't. Okay, bad things happen. Bad things happen everywhere. All right? I mean, there were bad things that have happened at Ohio State. There were bad things that happened with Michigan. I don't know if you remember, but Brendan Gibbons, the old kicker at Michigan who won the Sugar Bowl,
Yeah.
Under Brady Hoke. He did actually, it came out that he did get involved with something that I believe was a crime and was kicked off the football team because of it. But he was kicked off the team. They did what they were supposed to do. Frank Clark robbed something or something like that. It came out that I can't remember what he did exactly. But he did something bad. He got arrested. And he was suspended from the team for quite a while until the investigation stopped. And I don't know where that ended up. I know that he ended up in the NFL, but I believe he ended up getting cut from whatever team he was on in the NFL because he was just I don't know what happened with him exactly, but repercussions were had. So I don't understand why we're bringing up all of these horrible things and saying, oh, this is indicative of the program being bad. Keep it to football, guys. Just keep it to football. Antoine Johnson says these dudes have been conspiracy theorists ever since kind of stallions. I feel like they've probably been conspiracy theorists since before that, but whatever. It doesn't, whatever. Before you play the video, say this is for educational purposes so that no one tries to take your channel down. Say fair use. It is fair use. We're using this for fair use. We're using this for commentary. We're not trying to make money off of it. If you want to super chat, feel free. We actually have that ability now. So if you're looking for a way to support the channel, there you go. You can do that now.
Like, tell me how to get audio from the video.
If it doesn't work, that's okay. We can just kind of talk about it because we've listened to it a couple of times, and I can link it in the show notes or something like that too. Buckeyes Battle Cry says, last time I checked, a petition was going around to get Ward Manuel fired after Harbaugh left. Yep. Yeah. I mean, none of us ever said we didn't want Ward Manuel to get fired. What's going on with Juwan Howard right now is kind of exhibit A. Harbaugh, I'm starting to understand why Harbaugh, why he couldn't keep Harbaugh. It was Harbaugh wanted a Super Bowl. That's just how it is. There was no keeping Harbaugh because Harbaugh, he understands he's in his 60s and he really wants to win a Super Bowl, and he's probably only got a few chances left for that. And San Diego has a pretty good infrastructure for him to be able to do that. It makes sense. Juwan Howard right now is the one that doesn't make any sense. Now, Don Thomas on Twitter keeps saying that he sees a lot of fight in this team. I'll be honest, I never really liked basketball as much as football anyway, so I only ever watched when Michigan was like really good. But even what I'm seeing from this team right now, I don't see fight. I've seen a lot of highlights or lowlights from the games, and I'm not seeing fight. Freaking, they were leading Michigan State at the half, and I believe they were leading by 10 at one point in that game and still lost. So that's the one that doesn't make any sense. Now, if there is actual impropriety going on in the Michigan athletic department and Ward Manuel covered it up, heck yeah, get his butt out of there. I mean, fire the guy. Are we ready? Are we ready?
Let me do a test here. Let's see.
It's Thursday.
All right,
a
let's
delicious
see.
episode today. Michigan's downfall is coming. Ward Manuel done? Question mark. We got a lot of stuff that we're going to cover tonight. Bombshell stuff that we broke on BuckeyesScoop.com this afternoon. We're going to get into.
He's going really fast too. He must talk fast normally.
What was that?
I said he must talk fast normally.
All of it very quickly. As always, we appreciate you guys. Thank you for your super chats.
Buckeyes Battle Cry says we have a bad echo going on. What is that all about? I bet you it's because you put that new screen up there.
Yeah.
Get it off or we can't post this.
Boom. Thank you, Buckeye Battle Cry, for pointing that out. Appreciate it.
Yeah, really appreciate that.
Hopefully that fixed it.
Disagree with all of your takes, but you seem like a really nice guy, so thanks for hanging out.
All right. Well, I guess I'm going to have to fix that another time.
That's okay.
But let me see here. So basically clip number 1 was the first 10 seconds of the video. And the note you had was they broke what exactly? Rumors? That's not breaking news. That's spreading rumors.
Yes.
Yes.
But I guess that's the whole point. They're not breaking any news. They have rumors, but they're acting like they're breaking some bombshell report. We don't know anything. So stop acting like you know something that you don't actually know just for the clicks, guys. I mean, seriously, you can. Do we still have an echo?
Do we?
Hang on. Oh, I think it went away finally.
Okay.
I'm not hearing it back now.
Okay. Good.
All right. If it didn't go away, let us know in the chat. But I'm not hearing it now, so I think we're good.
All right.
Goodness gracious, where was I?
Everything was going so well.
It was. It's all a part of the journey.